Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist to the Abyss, and you're watching my review for Parasyte, aka Kiseijuu, episode 19. Alright, and I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I kind of expected a little bit more out of this episode. Um, with the way they ended last week, they kind of got my hopes up, and I was going into this episode thinking that it was going to be awesome. It might be the best episode yet, but it didn't really come through in that regard. I mean, that which isn't to say it was a bad episode. It just wasn't as good as I thought it would be. Um, we start off with Origami just staring at Shinichi, and then we got started with those flashbacks. And as soon as I saw those flashbacks, at that point I started losing hope. Not that the episode was going to be good, but that the episode was going to be amazing, like the same level as the last one. As soon as I saw those flashbacks, I knew that they weren't actually going to do anything with Uragami staring at Shinichi like that. Because if something like that, in order to give it the biggest impact possible, you wouldn't interrupt it with flashback. All right, you just wouldn't do that. So as soon as I saw those flashbacks, I knew that nothing was going to happen. And sure enough, it turns out that Migi was asleep during this entire thing. So Uragami ended up not sensing anything out of Shinichi except for potential, as he put it. All right, but with no other reason to keep him, they just released Shinichi and his father. They Hirama hinted at Shinichi adopting Tom Yurioko's baby. Um, I don't. I mean, maybe I don't know if that's actually going to be relevant or not later on. Maybe like as an end of series type of thing, or maybe even like end of the series time skip and you see him adopting the kid or something. Yeah, I don't think it'll be relevant like until the very last episode. Okay, because I don't see unless the parasites go after the baby, but I don't know why they would do that. So I really don't see the baby being that relevant anymore, except for maybe giving Shinichi like another reason to live or something like that. Like, but I mean, he already has enough of those, so I mean, I just don't see the baby being that relevant. All right, moving on. After this, Hirama ends up meeting Yamagishi. All right, and these two are going to end up conducting an operation to get rid of these parasites or to exterminate the pests, as Yamagishi put it. Um, they they decide to recruit a little bit of help for this little operation of theirs, which leads into Shinichi going back to school for the first time in like forever. Um, One of the things that should be mentioned here is that, well, some of the guys end up discovering Shinichi's scar, all right, and there was no real purpose for this scene other than his scar being discovered for the first time. So I think that the fact that this actually happened means that that is going to be relevant like down the line. Like maybe they'll be talking about it in the hallway and Murano will overhear, or Yuko or Akiho, one of them will overhear, and then they'll end up asking Shinichi about it, like, what's this I hear about, you having this scar or whatever. Then he's going to have to try and come up with some way to explain that why he has a scar, not just the front of his chest, but on his back as well, like in the same spot. So it's not like he can say like he burned himself, like or like I don't know who would believe that, but like it's not like he can say like something. He clearly has been stabbed. That's the only reason why you'd have the same scar on the exact same spot on both your chest and your back. You know, like no, all right. He was clearly stabbed. So I am thinking that them discovering the scar is it's going to somehow lead into Murano discovering it as well. Okay, all right, but back to like main story here. Shinichi is leaving school with Murano, and that's when Hirama intercepts them. All right, and he requests Shinichi's help in front of all these other students, which surprised me. All right, because I expected him to do something like that in private, but I actually like the fact that they did it in front of the students, because while the students don't know all the details, it still sends a big message that this detective, or what was his I don't even remember what his title was. Assistant something. He said it in this episode too. He's about to become superintendent apparently. Not about to, but Yamagishi said he might become superintendent by the time the mission ends, whenever. But assistant investigator, something like that, or whatever his title is. They see this dude here talking about how, we're going to win, and and asking Shinichi's help. Then Murano bringing up the incident with the class being killed and crap like that. They're listening to all this, and it's very clear that Shinichi is involved in this stuff. Like, you don't need to know all the details to figure out from this, just listening in, that Shinichi is somehow involved with these parasites. Alright, they don't. I'm sure they don't know what his role is, but they know that he is somehow involved and he's important. So I gotta give them props to doing this in like at the school in front of everybody, because a lot of series don't do that, which I don't like. I like it when series do this and reveal secrets to people and don't keep them in the not reveal them, but not keep them in the dark either. Most series would probably have Hirama meet Shinichi one-on-one or something, like in private, and discuss it, and then everyone else just remains in the dark. I don't like that. Spread the intelligence, okay? Spread the information. All right. The more they know about Shinichi, the better, because that just means they'll get more respect and crap. All right. But whatever. Um, and I just like. It's weird. I was gonna say I like Parasyte for breaking the mold or whatever, but it's not like Parasyte is a new show. It's not like it's. I mean, it's a new anime, but it's not a new manga. The manga was made in like the 80s, 90s. Okay, so it's not like this is new. So the fact that series today have still just not gotten around to doing things like this just boggles my mind. But whatever. Um, I don't even remember what. Okay, yeah. All right. So Hirama ends up getting Shinichi and getting help, requesting help from him. Uh, Shinichi meets Yamagishi and asks him about. Yamagishi asks Shinichi about any suggestions that he might have for fighting the parasites. And he tells him flamethrowers because Migi had told him previously that it probably won't harm us legitimately, but at the very least it will catch us off guard and startle us. And for someone like Goto, who has to control 5 different parasites, which takes a lot of concentration and just mental power, okay, just mental ability, him getting startled could just like mess his entire body up. Not permanently, but for a small enough period where or for a big enough period where you would be able to do something to him. Okay, so he tells him that, and with that, the day of the raid comes. Right, they go to the town hall or whatever, and Hirakawa and Goto, they're definitely suspicious. They were suspicious before because they were sitting there in the dark talking to each other, talking about how the humans are going to make their moves soon. We lost 4 of our people, and they formed this task force, and they're not giving me any information anymore. They're getting serious here. All right, so they were all. So as soon as they saw all these like SWAT teams and crap show up, there's no doubt about it. They were suspicious. All right, there's no way they bought that line about the gunmen being on the. Nah, they know they're after the parasites. They're right now. I'm assuming they're trying to think of a way to get out of this situation. All right. I don't know what exactly the plan is from Yamagishi's point of view. I don't know what he had. Apparently, they have these safeguards. I don't see what those safeguards are gonna do, but whatever. I'll get to that later. Um, they bring in both Shinichi and Uragami for this. Okay, Migi is awake at this point. Okay, he's awake. We saw Shinichi and Migi talking to each other. All right, Migi is awake. So why is it that Uragami didn't sense anything? That's something I was confused about. All right, Uragami should have been able to sense me. If Uragami truly does have this ability to sense parasites, then he should be able to sense Migi, because Migi is awake now. Okay, why he didn't, I don't know. I could understand not being able to sense parasites by looking through the screen, because I mean, Oh, first of all, you don't need to have some super special ability to figure out that none of those people are parasites. Because they were made with freaking CG instead of actual animation. Alright? Like, I did understand that, why they chose to use CG there of all places. And I thought that was weird alone, but adding the fact that they were actually showing the CG people through the screen, like that's the strangest thing I've ever seen. Like out of all the way, I've never understood why anime decides to use CG in the ways that they use it. Like, Yawamushi Pedal is actually an anime that is good with its CG use. They use it well. But some anime, they just use it at the strangest times. It's like, why? Like, why? I, whatever. I just didn't get the, like, if you're gonna use CG, why there of all times? Of all times, why there? But whatever. Um, they end up using this technology to uh, they're using X-rays to look through people and try and figure out which of them are parasites, because they're leaving in groups of 7. That way it's, they're not that way it's easier to tell. That way don't have a million people passing through at once. Right? They're actually able to focus on small groups and find out who are actually parasites. Okay, and the way I think this works is that the parasites don't have skulls. So they use the X-rays, and if you don't have if they see someone who doesn't have a skull, then they know that that person's a parasite. At least I think that's how it works, because it looked like the skull was actually there, but then it just disappeared after like a split second. So I don't know. That's maybe parasites do have skulls, and they just I don't know. It was weird. All right. The point is that if you look at the screen, if the person doesn't have a skull, then that means they're a parasite. All right. And the first person we see is this like random woman who we've never met before. All right. And they are going to use these safeguards and or whatever to try and get her. All right. Now, again, like I said before, I don't know what these safeguards are. I don't know how exactly they plan on doing this in a way where the civilians stay safe, or even better, stay ignorant of the situation. I don't know how they're going to accomplish this. I don't see how they're going to do this without getting the minute they go after a parasite, the parasite's going to know the cover is blown. Right? They're just going to know. All right. Like if they're able to pick out that one person specifically, and she knows, like, okay, I'm a parasite, these guys are probably looking for parasites, they know cover's blown, I need to do something, right? So, and we saw from the preview that it looked like she had gotten shot in the chest or something, and you could see her head start to unravel. So she's legit going into attack mode here. Okay, and if she's going into attack mode doing that, wouldn't it logically follow that the other parasites would as well? Because then they'd be able to figure out, like, okay, they have some way of differentiating us parasites from the rest of these humans. Right? So it's only a matter of time until we get caught too. So it's better that we go on the offensive first before we need to go on the defensive. Alright, so like these safeguards, like what? Like they can't like just have flamethrowers and expect that. Like, like they can't just have that. They've got to have something else. Like, I don't know what would be what would be a good weapon to use. Like, they have to have something else. They can't just be thinking that this is going to work, unless the people inside are somehow cut off from seeing what's going on, so that even if this woman starts to attack, Hirakawa and Goto won't be able to figure out that she's being attacked. No, they will, because they'll be able to sense her signal disappear. Now, see, these safeguards, I don't see what these safeguards could possibly be in order to, like, this is about to turn into a pretty chaotic situation, I'm pretty sure, because there's no way to do this. There's no way to do this the way they want it to be done. Right? There just isn't a way. Alright, so, and we see in the preview, we saw Goto in the preview, we saw Hirakawa in the preview. It looked like Hirakawa had, like, something, like, going on with his face. Oh, that's another thing. According to Tami Ryoko, Hirakawa is special in some way. Okay, So they can't write off Hirakawa and just focus on Goto. Hirakawa is dangerous too. All right, there's something about him. All right, so that's something that they need to look out for as well. But plus, they don't know how many parasites there are. Migi couldn't get an exact number. He just said there were a decent number there. So I mean, how is this gonna work? Are they gonna like take these people into vehicles to get them to safety, and then use that as their excuse to take out? No, no, because we see her outside in the preview where she gets shot. No, see, so I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna work. I really don't. Um, but they're gonna have to do something. Uh, they're gonna have to do something. All right, but that's it for this episode, you guys. Overall, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Excuse me. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a cool episode. Um, Looking forward to next week just to see what type of magic trick they pull off to get themselves out of this situation. If they're even able to do so, they probably won't be able to, but even then, I'd still look forward to that. So yeah, and that's it for this review, guys. Episode gets a 7 out of 10. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.